Now, The Hunt Palmer Show.
He needs care and treatment.
You are now listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Guarantee Health Solutions on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Is this a great country or what?
Locking down the middle of the day, live from the Raising Cane studio. This is Hunt Palmer.
Hour 2, Monday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Guarantee Health Solutions. Find them online at guaranteehealth.com, guaranteehealth.com. Talk about the weekend that was in the SEC for baseball. We got some women's basketball to get to later on in the hour, as well as LSU learned its fate in its bracket for the NCAA tournament yesterday evening. So we'll get into some of that. But we are going to start with the New Orleans Saints here to begin our number 2. Kellen Moore met with the media back on Friday, really as we were on the air. So an opportunity now to get to hear that sound from Friday. And I thought he had some relatively interesting things to say. But to me, the focal point of the offseason for New Orleans right out of the chute was revamping the running game. Kellen Moore has had good running games throughout his time as a play caller in the National Football League. He had a really good offensive line in Dallas that could run the ball. Obviously, in Philly, they were absolutely loaded in that 1 year, maybe the best offensive line in football, a really good running quarterback as well. And you saw late in the season last year that Tyler Shuck did help you in the running game a little bit, but overall, the running game last year for New Orleans was not nearly good enough. So what have they done? Well, they went out in free agency and immediately made 2 big additions when it comes to running the football. It started on the offensive line, bringing in Edwards to be your left guard. And Kellen Moore talked about why it was important to target Edwards.
Felt really good identifying him as an ideal fit for our group, for our unit. Him kind of rolling in there next to Kelvin at that left guard spot. Felt like it was just a really clean transition for us. You know, watching his career, his consistency, his steadiness, what he did in Buffalo as far as leading that group. We certainly identified that. It was certainly a goal of ours. If this worked, it would be awesome. And fortunate for us, it felt like a good match for him and what he was looking for as well.
I think that's just was so vital to the Saints to get him in the building, and obviously the Saints felt the same way, and that's really the first guy they drilled down and wanted to make sure that they got. And you look at Kellen Moore, and I go back to the 2 examples I gave you with Dallas and Philly and the great offensive lines that Kellen had there when he was calling plays, and you look at the fact that the first-round pick that the Saints made was on the offensive line with a new left tackle, and the first free agent signing that they made in this year with Cap was on the offensive line right next to him at left guard. So your left tackle and your left guard were obviously priorities, and so he spoke to the investment they wanted to make up front with this organization since taking over.
I just think you're always looking at offensive line, defensive line, that the importance of those positions, and so that's a year-round acquisition. Certainly, David's a big important piece to this. To have the last 2 first-round picks be our left tackle, right tackle, have some depth inside with all those guys. We feel like we're in a really good place.
I agree. I think the Saints offensive line is going to be a strength. And for the last 2 years, it's been a crippling weakness. Now, you've got to stay healthy. If McCoy can't play, then this feeling that I have about this being a strength goes out the window. But if you're healthy, you have young tackles that should be improving and entering their prime. You've got proven veterans at left guard and center. Now, right guard is what it is with Cesar Ruiz, but 4 of your 5 spots theoretically should be really good. I think it's possible for Kelvin Banks to grow into a Pro Bowl left tackle. I think it's possible, if not probable, that Eric McCoy is a all-pro candidate at center. And I think Edwards is a good player at left guard. So you've got what I think can be a strength. And so now you add on behind them at the running back position and you bring in Travis Etienne, and Moore spoke to that.
Huge fan of this guy going back to Clemson, following his career in Jacksonville, his vision, his speed, obviously, to make some home run plays, and then his ability to make plays. Hard up to have him.
I think that is well said as well. I think you could sense Kellen's a pretty vanilla guy. Not a lot of juice from the interviews generally, but saying that he's fired up and giving examples of tracking him back. And I heard Matt Moscona back on Friday talking about how few 1,000-yard rushers the Saints have actually produced. Alvin Kamara's never done it. And Etienne's done it multiple times now in his NFL career. Certainly did last year. And so you bring him in, and he's a difference maker. And if that offensive line plays to its level, and Etienne does what he's done, like you've got a guy who changes fundamentally the way your offense functions if you can run the football as well as Etienne has in his career. But that's not the only thing Etienne does. He also can help you out catching the football.
Yeah, you saw it at Clemson. Obviously, I think all of us evaluated that and saw that as a potential. And then you see the stuff that he did in Jacksonville. He certainly made some plays out in space. And again, it'll be fun once we get on the field and kind of just get to experience that with him and kind of find what best suits us moving forward.
Using that running back in the passing game, such a benefit for a young quarterback. They're easy throws. They're oftentimes matchup advantages. You like your running back running against those linebackers. And I think that's something that the Saints are absolutely going to incorporate with Travis Etienne in the passing game. And the question with all of this becomes, okay, what's next with Kamara? That's the question you've got to ask, because you've made all these moves, and I talked about it last week. One of the moves that you made very quietly was restructuring Kamara's deal to allow there to be a more simplified separation. And that's just not something you just do for grins. Like, you do that with an intention, and it feels like that may happen. And so Kellen Moore was asked about the situation with Alvin Kamara.
Really, we were able to sign a few guys so far. Obviously, we've had those conversations, and we'll see where the next few months take ourselves as this season goes. Again, we got a lot of roster stuff to navigate, but we'll be just fine.
That, to me, is such a loud answer. Like, he literally said nothing in that. That's not true. That's like my wife incorrectly using the term literally. He did say something, but he didn't say anything of substance at all in that answer. It's like, well, we'll be fine, and we sign some guy. Like, there's nothing to that bite at all. But that's what makes it a bite, like, that I grasp to, because it's so easy to turn around and say, yeah, he's absolutely part of our plans. He's under contract, and he didn't do that. And we talked about it on Friday, but it just to dismiss that so quickly and to not divulge anything, to me, was fascinating. And so I just feel like we're going to be watching to see what Alvin Kamara does in the near future. Last bite here from Kellen Moore as you talk about the running game and kind of the overhauling of this roster to take a step forward and compete coming up in 2026, hopefully for an NFC South division. Are you done in free agency? And they asked Kellen Moore that.
Yeah, it's a year-round process, so there's a lot of stuff that comes up throughout this whole process, and we'll continue to go, and there's plenty of stuff to navigate.
I just like that soundbite because he is really good at giving you nothing. I mean, play that again, Jordan. It's number 18. This is.
Yeah, it's a year-round process, so there's a lot of stuff that comes up throughout this whole process, and we'll continue to go, and there's plenty of stuff to navigate.
That's just nothing. So who knows? Who knows if the Saints are done or not? My sincere guess is that they're not, because they have money to spend, and it's not like the Saints to not push that salary cap all the way to the brink. You've certainly got to leave a little bit of room to sign your draft class, and we know that, and the Saints are going to have to do that. They've got a lot of picks, and I think leaving some money there does indicate that the Saints intend to use their picks instead of mortgaging them to go move up some spots. I think that the Saints would be in their best interest to use the selections that they have. They did a great job last year with that, and I think their plan should be to do that again. But I don't think they're done in free agency. I do think they will continue to look around. I think that there are obvious positions that the Saints will target. I think cornerback is obviously one. It would not surprise me at all if they went back into the well at linebacker, even after Caden Ellis. Would not surprise me at all if they got another offensive lineman, even though they signed Dylan Radins over the weekend as well. I think there are some spots that you've got to bring some guys in, and what Alvin Kamara does may depend on whether or not you need to add at running back as well. But you've got time to do that. You've got time to sign free agents. You got the draft coming up in about a month, and then you've got the undrafted free agent period of player acquisition as well to add where you need to. Obviously, the draft is the most important part of that to me, because it's where you can lock guys down on the cheap. But while you've got some money to spend in free agency, go ahead and make that happen, and I expect that the Saints will. But to me, and I've said this many times, actually was talking about it over the weekend down in New Orleans, I feel like things are really positive with New Orleans right now. I feel like you can sense that you're moving in the right direction. And the most fun is being at the top of the mountain, obviously, but that doesn't happen very often for any team, maybe Tom Brady. But there's so much joy in the ride up. And it feels like you're on the ground floor of the ride up. It's like you're on the elevator. At a certain point, back in October, it felt like you were on the ground floor, maybe outside the building. Now you're on the elevator. It's time to start moving up, and I feel like the Saints have done a really good job in this offseason, and I feel like that the running game for the young quarterback is the most important thing. So we'll see. Great stuff there from Kellen Moore in some cases. In some cases, maybe not as much, but good stuff happening for the Saints down in New Orleans. Our Monday show is brought to you by Guarantee Health Solutions. We'll step aside, come back, and I'll give you some quick hitters on the SEC baseball weekend that was. We'll do that when we come back.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Fabry Chevrolet GMC, FabryChevrolet.com. That is FabryChevrolet.com. You know the Fabry family. Maybe not in the Chevrolet world, but in Baton Rouge, because they've been here for 35 years. 3 locations, 5 brands, amazing buying experience, great customer service after the sale as well. All that is what you get when you do business with the Fabry family. And now they're thrilled to have their Fabry Chevrolet GMC under their ownership now on Highway 61 in St. Francisville. 2 weeks ago, my wife and I went up to St. Francisville for the weekend. It's really a quick drive right up there, and you can see them on Highway 61 there. Go by and check them out. The inventory is fantastic. It is large. They've got Chevy Tahoe, Chevy Suburbans. If you're looking for a Yukon or Denali on the GMC side, they've got them. New and certified pre-owned vehicles as well. If you're looking for a truck, no better spot. Up to $11,000 off Silverados, up to $13,000 off GMC Sierras as well. You're saving 5 figures off MSRP. Fantastic deals with fantastic people there at Fabry Chevrolet GMC. Check them out at Highway 61 in St. Francisville or online at FabryChevrolet.com.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Guarantee Health Solutions. Guarantee Health Solutions, guiding healthcare forward. GuaranteeHealth.com.
Monday show is brought to you by Guarantee Health Solutions, GuaranteeHealth.com. It's GuaranteeHealth.com. Let's tell you a little bit about what went on in the Southeastern Conference over the weekend. So there were 3 sweeps. Kentucky swept Alabama. Of course, Kentucky will be at the box in 2 weeks. Oklahoma this week and Kentucky next week. So Kentucky sweeps Alabama. Thought that was pretty loud, and Bama's not very good. They were near the bottom of my power rankings in that 14th spot in the first 2 weeks, and I don't know that they're going to move from there. Auburn went and swept Missouri. We expect that to generally happen. I think Auburn is pretty good, and they swept Missouri. And then Florida swept South Carolina. Now, that one was loud because South Carolina in 3 games, scored a total of 3 runs. They were shut out on Friday. They were shut out on Saturday, and they scored 3 on Sunday and lost 13-3. So they got run ruled in the only game they scored in. They mustered 11 hits on the weekend, hit 1 homer and 4 doubles, so 5 extra base hits in 3 games against Florida, and got swept right out of town. So these are the 3 worst teams in the league to me. They were the 3 worst 3 teams in my power rankings in week 1 and week 2 when I did them. And they still look like the worst 3 teams, and they didn't win a game over the weekend. LSU does not play Bama and does not play Missouri. LSU does play South Carolina. So that's a look at the teams that struggled. Now let's look at the more competitive series of the weekend. The Texas-Ole Miss series was really good. Ole Miss hit a grand slam in the 8th inning on Friday to take the lead. Texas was down to its final strike and came back and tied it. They went to extras, and Texas won the game in extra innings. Ole Miss won the game in extra innings. Texas came back and won the next 2. So, again, Ole Miss hits the grand slam to take the lead. Texas tied it, sent it to extras, and Ole Miss beat Texas in extra innings. It was the Longhorns' first loss of the season. Texas came back and won the second 2 games of the weekend. Really competitive weekend between Oklahoma and Texas A&M. Oklahoma takes 2 out of 3. What I was interested in was that Friday game. LSU plays both of these 2 teams at the box, incidentally. And I wanted to see what that game looked like on Friday between 2 aces that have thrown the ball really well at A&M and Oklahoma. Cam Johnson, of course, everyone knows from his time at LSU. He's been very good for Oklahoma. He went out there and had the Cam Johnson outing. Like, this is in there. 2 and a 1/3 innings. 7 walks. 7 walks for Cam Johnson in 2 and a 1/3. He gave up 5 runs on 1 hit. But on the other side, Shane Sadeo, who's also been very good, got hit hard. 3 2/3 innings, 8 hits and 4 earned runs. He only had 2 strikeouts and 1 walk. So I was curious how those aces would look, and they did not pass their first test of SEC play. So when Cam Johnson comes to Baton Rouge to very likely make a start on Thursday, he'll be coming off a 7-walk outing. We know what that looks like around here. We'll see how things shake out. Georgia took 2 of 3 from Tennessee by about the closest margin you can possibly do it. Tennessee hit what would have been a go-ahead home run, and the left fielder from Georgia robbed it to win the game. That was one of Georgia's 2 wins. A ball that was taken from a home run back into play to save the game. So really, really close one. And I was fascinated by Arkansas and Mississippi State. They, because of weather, had to play a doubleheader on Saturday, and ultimately Arkansas wins the weekend. They won the first game on Friday 5-4, came back and played the doubleheader on Saturday. Mississippi State won the first game of that doubleheader 7-2, and then Arkansas came back and won it 7-3 in the nightcap of that doubleheader to win the series. I thought it was a really impressive showing by Arkansas, and I know that they've had some losses. They've lost 6 games to this point, but I still believe in Dave Van Horn's team. And I saw an amazing stat when you consider just how competitive the SEC is in baseball. Dave Van Horn and Arkansas have won 9 consecutive SEC opening series, 9 in a row. Like, that is remarkable. And to me, to put this in a local perspective, because this is not an Arkansas show or Mississippi State show, but to put it in a local perspective, Dave Van Horn at Arkansas has won 9 straight SEC opening series. Dave Van Horn at Arkansas has not won less than 18 league games since 2017. That is almost a decade of winning 18-plus league games. It's truly unbelievable. And to further the local aspect of this, to consider the fact that that man has not won a national championship blows my mind. They are really good every single freaking year. And LSU has won 8 of these things. It's just really difficult for me to compartmentalize that. To compartmentalize Mike Martin having a really good team for 30 years in a row and not winning is crazy to me. Dave Van Horn being elite for 20 years and never winning it is crazy to me. And I just feel like our perspective is so wickedly warped by Skip Bertman and Jay Johnson that, hey, you show up in Omaha every 2 years, which they've been 20 out of 40. That was what I kept writing last year. They've been 20 out of 40 years, and they've won 8 of the 20. I'm not super at math, but 40% is a pretty good clip to be winning the national championship when you get to Omaha. LSU gets there 50% of the years, and they win 40% of the championships in those years. And Arkansas, who's good every year, has first-round picks and All-Americans. They had the Golden Spikes winner last year, National Pitcher of the Year, Kevin Kopps, Hagen Smith. Can't win it. Every year they go out and they start 3-0 or 2-1. Every year they win 18 or 19 games. Can't win it. I'll tell you this. I know that Dave Van Horn's getting older in age. If you handed me a crisp 20 and said, you got to take this to the window, you got to bet, will he win a national championship, will he not? I would bet it on that he will. Probably against my odds at this point because he's got more in the rearview mirror than he does coming out the windshield. But they're just too good not to. And Mississippi State is excellent this year. They had lost 2 games all year entering that game on Friday, and both of them were heartbreakers to very good teams. They lost an extra inning game they should have won against UCLA, number 1 team in the country. And then they lost a game in Hattiesburg against a ranked Southern Miss team that they should have won. Back-to-back wild pitches cost them. Went from leading to trailing and lost the game. But that's the only losses they had, and Arkansas beat them 2 out of 3. Now, it was in Fayetteville. They beat them 2 out of 3. So I saw that stat about Dave Van Horn in Arkansas winning 9 straight SEC opening series. And it just sparked something in me to be like, God, they are so good every year. And it's so hard to win. And around here, we sit around and go and legitimately talk about winning the whole thing in October. Because it just feels like that's what you're supposed to do. And Paul Mainieri got roasted for going to Omaha and losing 2 games. And that's Arkansas's fate like most of the time. Smoke Laval got run out of town after going to Omaha twice in 4 years. Now, that wasn't why he didn't get fired because he lost in Omaha. He got fired because he ran the program off a cliff, and they were atrocious in 2006, and they were bad in 2007. That was his doing, even though it was Paul's first year. But he got fired going to Omaha a couple times. That's all David Horn does, go to Omaha, and can't quite get it done. I will never in my life forget being in that press box for that second Arkansas game last year when Aloy threw the ball to third base instead of a double play, when Davalon had a ball bounce off his shoulder, when Jared Jones hits a flare and Kojal gets a glove on it and tips off. Like, Arkansas could have won this game 5 times, and they find a way to lose it. Like, it just blows my mind. And this weekend was just another reminder of like, yep, Arkansas is still awesome, and yep, they've never won one. LSU's sitting over here with 8 trophies, and I would argue that Arkansas has been better than LSU for the last 26 years. And LSU won in 2000, won in 09, won in 23, won in 25, and Arkansas has got nothing to show for it. That is hard for me to manage. But they played really well over the weekend. So just big picture takeaways for me this weekend. Tough stuff from like South Carolina's awful. That's take number 1. I think Kentucky's decent. Take number 2. Texas is very good. I still think Ole Miss is really scrappy. I believe it might be Yanko's team this year. Oklahoma, gut check, but Cam Johnson was a disaster, and we'll talk about that on Thursday. And then Arkansas, tough stuff. I think Georgia and Tennessee are both pretty good too. Watching series in that ballpark is bizarre. It's just such a bandbox. Now, Vanderbilt was playing a bandbox yesterday, but such a bandbox. That's a look at the Southeastern Conference in weekend number 1. We'll get into week number 2 in SEC play coming up on Thursday with Joe Healy and LSU and Oklahoma. We'll kick things off on a Thursday night edition of SEC Baseball. Let me tell you about Swing Easy Golf Club, swingeasygcbr.com, swingeasygcbr.com. Looking to play a little bit of golf. It's too cold today to go out there and hit golf shots, but not at Swing Easy Golf Club. Play on the simulator. It's a ton of fun. I love simulator golf. It's different than your standard golf out there on the course, but it's a lot of fun. They got cold beers in there. Got television, comfortable seating, bring some friends, socialize, hang out, make an afternoon of it, make an evening of it. Can't play golf at night. It's dark. You can at Swing Easy Golf Club. Fire up Pebble Beach. Fire up TPC Sawgrass where the pros play. Test yourself and your friends against that Island Green 17th. You can become a member. There's some perks that come with that. You get some free time during the month. If you're a member at Swing Easy Golf Club, go by and see him. Segan at Perkins at Swing Easy Golf Club, swingeasygcbr.com. Right, we got 30 minutes to go here. Our Monday show is brought to you by Guarantee Health Solutions. We'll come back and keep things moving on the Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Lifetime Roofing, lifetimeroofingla.com, lifetimeroofingla.com. Looking for a new roof? Lifetime Roofing can help you out. You need to trust your roofer, obviously. It's important. There are some roofers that'll come in and try to take advantage of people after a storm, try to get you their most expensive product, which is a new roof. At Lifetime Roofing, you can trust them. Let them do that inspection, and if they determine you just need to do a repair, they can do the repair. They determine your roof's okay, let's do a tune-up, 4 to 5 things, but your roof's okay. They'll do that. And if you need a new roof, they can do that as well. Need to work with your carrier, they can help you with that. They've got a team there to do it at Lifetime Roofing. Maybe you don't have an event and you're just buying one retail in the retail space. Lifetime Roofing can help you out with that, especially if you're looking to sell your home, want to make sure you can get the best value for your home, want to put a new roof on it. Lifetime Roofing can help you out with that, and they're so thrilled that as of January 1st, they were able to offer a lifetime warranty on the workmanship and the materials, and they're backed by CertainTeed, one of the oldest and most trusted names in building materials. Looking for gutters, looking for siding, looking for windows, Lifetime Roofing can do that as well. Check them out online, lifetimeroofingla.com, lifetimeroofingla.com.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Guarantee Health Solutions. Guarantee Health Solutions, guiding health care forward. GuaranteeHealth.com.
Monday shows brought to you by Guarantee Health Solutions. Healthcare is complex. They make it easy over at Guarantee Health Solutions. They are a full-service operation over at Guarantee Health Solutions, and they're able to help you as a member of the healthcare community just make things more smooth with your patient. You're talking about a full assessment of the patient journey. They want to make sure that it's hospitable. That's what Rachel Fricke's background is in. She's in the hospitality space and realized with the journey through her mother's journey with cancer that like this is a miserable experience at times. That's what Guarantee Health Solutions helps healthcare folks avoid. Talking about a full assessment of that patient journey, and even as far as like what does your brand look like online? How easy is it to access your care? How many clicks to care? If you're not taking care of your website and you're a healthcare operation, why not? Let Guarantee Health Solution come in and help that. They also can help with finding a building for your healthcare operation. They can work with the real estate agent and handle signage. They can handle your marketing, your SEO, all these things that you don't really want to have on your plate because you want to make sure that you're handling healthcare. That's what Guarantee Health Solutions is here to help you with. Talking about moving healthcare forward, that's Guarantee Health Solutions. They bring you our Monday shows each and every week. All right, last night I was just enthralled with the World Baseball Classic. I really was. I have not watched a ton of it, but I did watch every pitch last night. Skeens was the reason for that. He is must-see television for me and was for a huge audience last night. And I did not realize, I had not watched the Dominican Republic play, and clearly watching as much baseball as I do, I was well aware the Dominican Republic puts out phenomenal baseball players. I was kind of unaware how stacked their lineup is for this World Baseball Classic. You looked at that group, and I was like, oh, my goodness. Superstar after superstar showing up. I mean, Soto is a top 3 hitter in the sport. Judge is right there. Ohtani's right there. But Soto is a top 3 hitter in the sport, no question. Ketel Marte is the best offensive second baseman in the sport to me. Machado is a stud. The Cubs saw him in the playoffs this past year. I mean, it just star after star in that lineup. Tatis is great. And Skeens kind of chewed him up. He hung one breaking ball. They hit out of the ballpark. But I thought he was great, and he's just so difficult to square up. And then the bullpen guys came in after him and were fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. My dad looked at me. We were watching the game last night, and he said, does USA have a closer? And I was like, well, I hadn't watched a ton. I've seen in and out. But I'm not sure. And then they panned to Mason Miller. I said, oh, wait a second. He's the most unhittable pitcher in the sport. Literally. No one hits him. The Cubs saw him in the playoffs, had no chance. He struck out 7 guys in a row he faced. Cubs had a pretty good offense. It didn't strike out a lot. He does 103. He's got a great breaking ball. He doesn't throw a lot of balls. And look at the Dominican Republic. They got some balls in play. They got the tying run to third base. And then he threw a slider, and it was low by a good bit. And the pitch was missed. And to have the game end on a missed third strike is disappointing. Live, I kind of thought it was a strike, and then they went back and showed the replay, and it was not even close. It was 8 inches low. But the scene last night in Miami was validating of the World Baseball Classic. This is coming from a guy who potentially may have lost his best hitter. The Cubs' best hitter is probably Seiya Suzuki. He plays for Team Japan. He got hurt stealing a base over the weekend. I was in the Superdome and saw the tweet come across. And I don't know what the severity of it is. They haven't said much of anything. He may be back at practice today. He may be out for the year. I don't know. It looked like a knee. I'm not sure what happened. But it's still like, in with that happening, which is worst case scenario for me as a Cubs fan to have something like that happen. Like what you saw last night, that scene, those guys, the emotion, the effort, the intensity, they want to win. And it has grown into something that is very cool. Like, I love the Cubs so deeply, and if you said you got to take the World Baseball Classic away and say I can come back, like I would make that trade. But I can put that aside. That's a personal interest, and look at, I mean, those guys in the Dominican Republic were fired up yesterday. When they hit that home run, Caminero hit that home run, like they're going nuts in that Dominican Republic dugout. And the crowd must have been 75% Dominican Republic, You're down there in Miami. You probably expect some of that. They were going absolutely bananas. The players on the American side were fired. I mean, Bryce Harper has done everything in the sport. He's fired up out there. Pete Crow Armstrong's running around like a crazy man. Bregman's fired up in the dugout. Bullpen guys are fist pumping coming off the mound. I mean, last night in the first inning, you saw Luis Severino throwing the ball an average of 3 miles an hour faster than his fastball average last year. He was sitting last year about 95. He was touching 99 through 2 innings last night. I mean, that's just adrenaline and being fired up and ready to play. And you look at the time of year, and you look at some organizations don't want their players out there, and I completely understand that, especially what happened with Seiya. And I'm a purist in baseball, and I certainly care way more about Major League Baseball than I do about the World Baseball Classic. But for me to watch that last night, to watch the best players in the world, Juan Soto, Paul Skeens, Aaron Judge, these are the best players in the world in there in a full house, max capacity, energetic, entertaining, competitive game, late haymakers thrown, 103-mile-an-hour fastball, trash talking. I mean, it had everything last night. And it's just an exhibition. Now, one thing I'm not wild about is the thought that because of the popularity that has been created with this World Baseball Classic, and people are watching. Japan is watching. America's watching. I don't know if Italy's watching, but their team's been pretty good. People are watching, and this thing is growing. And the thought is that in this next CBA, they may move this to the All-Star break. And I'm just not really wild about telling Major League Baseball to go sit in the corner for 2 weeks. That, to me, that messes with the Cubs for me. Like, that messes with my enjoyment of the baseball season to do it then. You could lift pitch counts that they have right now, not have those. They have a 65 to 75 pitch limit in these rounds. And you could take those off in the summer because guys are worked up to it and they're not in the spring, obviously. And so you would get a more representative look, and it would be a more competitive tournament because of that. If Skeens could go 7 innings instead of, the 75 pitches he had to go in the first time out, 65 pitches, whatever it was. And so I think it would be good for the World Baseball Classic. I would not be for it. I don't want to take the Cubs off the field for 2 weeks in July. That's part of my summer. I don't want to deal with that. But it feels like because of the popularity, they may do it. There's money on the table to be made. You look at the popularity of this, and the television numbers are going to be very, very good. We've seen the attendance numbers. They're great. Houston was packed out for USA and Mexico. Miami was packed out for USA and Dominican Republic. Japan's going to sell that joint out when Ohtani takes the field. Like, you get it. I just don't want to see it moved to July. But Skeens was must-see TV last night. It's very cool. And this is something I said. I kind of hinted at this last week, but I didn't get all the way to the finished take. I talked about how great it was to see Skeens emerging as kind of the face of baseball in a way. I believe Paul Skeens will be the best LSU pro athlete since Shaq. Like, you look around, and like Justin Jefferson's a superstar, no doubt. Jamar Chase, superstar, no doubt. Joe Burrow, superstar, no doubt. You've seen good Major League players come out of LSU, like DJ LeMahieu, who won a couple batting titles, and Aaron Nola's had a really good run of it. Kevin Gausman revitalized his career in the middle and has done great. Garrett Temple had a long and established career, but none of those guys are in the realm of Shaquille O'Neal. And I think Paul Skeens has a chance to be that. I think Paul Skeens has a chance to be kind of the face of pitching and baseball. He's never going to be the most entertaining guy. He's not going to be a showman like Bryce Harper is, and but he's clearly the best right-handed pitcher in the sport, and he's entering his prime, and he's the face of Team USA on the mound for this team, and we'll see where he ends up post-Pittsburgh. I do not have any reason to believe he will stick in Pittsburgh long-term. I just don't think they're going to pay him what he's going to command, which is, I guess, north of $300 million, maybe north of $250. I'm not certain what that contract's going to look like, but Pittsburgh's not going to pay it. So where he ends up from there, like Shaq was with the Lakers for a long time. That's just different than playing for the Magic. It's just different than playing for – he was a superstar. and his personality helped with that. I think Skeens is next on that list for LSU, and last night was really cool to watch. He was that's the best lineup in the tournament, I would have to think. I think the Dominican Republic lineup is better than Team USA's. I know it's better than Japan's, and I think it's the best. And he held it to one run. It was awesome to watch. I'm bummed out that he is in the Cubs division, but they don't have the unbalanced schedules anymore, so the Cubs don't see him too often. And I'm kind of bummed out he's in Pittsburgh, period. But he's awesome, and I think he will be the next guy in line after Shaq when you think about LSU professional athletes. So cool stuff last night from Miami. Team USA beats the Dominican Republic. They will play coming up on Tuesday for the World Baseball Classic. Let's close it out next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
First American Bank and Trust. First American Bank and Trust. Look, they've been at this for 116 years. I think they know what they're doing. Started up in 1910. They've grown to 25 locations throughout Southeast Louisiana. So there's always one near you. If you're looking for a commercial loan, slur that word? You're looking for a commercial loan, First American Bank and Trust needs to be your call, because you're talking about a local business with community people that are making decisions on a local level. Every decision that is made on your personal loan, on your commercial loan, is made in Southeast Louisiana. You're not calling somebody in Sacramento. You're not calling somebody in Atlanta. The people that you deal with at First American Bank and Trust are part of your community. It's not a mom and pop shop. 25 locations. They've got the assets that you need to compete with the big banks. It's First American Bank and Trust. Stop in location today and say, hey, it's First American Bank and Trust.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Guarantee Health Solutions. Guarantee Health Solutions, guiding healthcare forward. GuaranteeHealth.com.
Is it too cold for T-ball?
That's actually funny you say that, because it was hailing this morning, so it actually might be.
Only hail tonight over at Traction's going to be the Bombers just hitting ground balls to the pitcher. That's most of the ABs are ground balls back to the mound.
Well, it's all about the preparation. Okay, sooner or later, those little ground balls will be dingers right over the fence.
Mm-hmm. We got a text from the parents that said they're allowed to wear hoodies and sweatshirts to T-ball. Put them under the jersey so that everyone's still matching. It's like, we can do that.
I guess a little just to be warm. It wouldn't hurt to be warm out there, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm worried about me. I'm not so worried about the 4-year-olds. They don't really care. I'm out there in the outfield with the Myers man most of the time. Lord. So we got to see what the temp's gonna be. I think it's gonna be around 50 tonight.
You got to bundle up. The wind might be kicking too. So that wind chill.
The wind was howling this weekend. Absolutely blowing. But we'll see. See what the Bombers have in store tonight.
I think, is this a game or this is practice?
Game.
Oh, this is a game. Oh, well, we know that both teams going to win the game, but, it's all about Hunt, you got to take the baby steps just along with him, man. We're taking these baby steps, and the next thing you know, a couple years later, you'll be like, damn, I remember them T-ball days. Now he's over there, ding, right over the fence.
Oh, yeah. He's on the fast track. He'll be in the World Baseball Class before we know it.
Little League Classic, something like that.
Little League World Series. I saw they're doing travel coach pitch now.
Oh, Lord.
I don't know if that's in the future for the Myers man, but I did hear a rumor that is a thing at this point. I don't think that's gonna happen.
Parents living through the kids, man. Taylor old as time.
Let's do take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it.
Today's hottest stories in sports, news, and sometimes even Hunt's life. The question is, will he take them or leave them?
All right, in the NBA, there's a lot going on right now with expansion, as the NBA will hold a vote at the Board of Governors meeting next week to explore adding expansion franchises in Las Vegas and Seattle, with the 2 new franchises being targeted to start in 2028 and 2029. So Vegas is going to have 3 teams now: basketball, football, and baseball. Would you have thought about this 10 years ago? Take it or leave it, man.
I'll take it. That was always a target there. Is LeBron going to own this team?
I mean, at this point, he might own the team. Mark Cuban might get on it. Who knows, man? Anybody.
The Pels are headed to the East. It's got to be,
Look,
right?
No, they're talking about Minnesota and Memphis, and I just think that is just the biggest mistake if you ask me. I think the Pelicans need to be in the East, not only because, come on, man, let us spread our wings in the East. Everybody else can go to the East and be good. Why can't we go to the East? And two, right now, currently, Minnesota, they have a rivalry with OKC, the Lakers, and the Nuggets. So why would you move them out of the West when they have rivals in the West?
Who's the Pelicans' rival?
I mean, I guess you want to say the Spurs, but I mean, no, I don't want to be rivals with them.
They got the Mavericks to worry about.
Yeah, like, can they go be rivals with the Rockets and all? Come on, man. Look, get us out the West, please. We're not asking for much.
That's what needs to happen.
Hunt, you would think that, but no, apparently Minnesota, Memphis.
The Pels need to be swimming in the water with the Orlando Magic.
Thank
they need
you,
to be
the Hawks. Why can't we play the Hawks?
Absolutely, the Hawks. You need to be swimming. You need the Wizards. No, are they the Wizards anymore?
I'll take them. All three of us go to the division. We'll take it. That's like the new NFC South. The Hawks, the Wizards, the Pelicans, and the Magic. All four of us. Let's get it. I need that. Okay, so Alabama's second leading scorer, Aiden Holloway, has been arrested on a felony drug charge 4 days before his team is set to play the NCAA tournament. Police recovered a pound of marijuana, some paraphernalia, and cash. Holloway has been charged with first-degree possession of marijuana and failure to affix a tax stamp. His bond was set at $5,000, so... Well, Alabama, they won't make a deep tournament run. Take it or leave it.
I'll leave it. I think they'll be fine. It is a little bit of a pattern here with it. It's like you've got some guys that are malcontents in that team. We're dealing with delivering guns to murder sites, and we got a pound of weed. Like, you got some unsavory characters, some unsavory things going on in Tuscaloosa.
Yeah.
As long as they don't win a national championship, that's fine with me.
Well, Hunt, you forgot the biggest thing. They actually have a guy who's old, fighting for eligibility.
Yeah, he's been gone for 2 years, wants to come back and play. There's a lot of drama over there in T-Town. And I'll tell you this, Nick Saban would never allow his player to be found with a pound of weed. He would just tell the cops to go away. We got football games to win. I run this town.
Call him up. Hey, coach, he'd be like, do not
chill.
Chill. He averages 17 points a game. You might want to relax, brother. Okay, so, I mean, we already spoke about it, but my last take it or leave it was that it was hailing this morning in Baton Rouge, so hailing in March, take it or leave it.
I'm leaving it. This is a ridiculous cold snap. I have no use for it.
No use.
I mean, if it had been a day earlier, LSU would have had some problems because the high in Nashville today is 40. Woo. So they'd have been playing in 30-ish degree weather. A lot of places in the SEC, if that weather had come in a day earlier, obviously they got out in front of it in Fayetteville and played a doubleheader on Saturday. But I have no use for this. This needs to be pool season, okay?
Literally.
This needs to be time. I need 80s. I need 90s. I don't need any of this 50s. Certainly not 40s and no hail either. It's just unacceptable this time of year. We should be well past that. And I think we will at the end of the week.
Every time I think about that, I think about those random games where, you'll check in and it's like the middle of April and you look at the Rockies and it's like a random snowstorm happening.
Yeah. No, the Cubs, it doesn't get warm in Chicago until July.
And
June.
That is crazy.
Like, May is cold in Chicago.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't even know that. I haven't been in Chicago before, so that's crazy.
I mean, I've never lived in Chicago. I have been to Chicago in April, and I've been to Chicago in May. The worst thing about Chicago winter, I would think, is not that it is very cold. Like, it's cold everywhere in the winter. It takes so long to warm up. It's just April is frigid in Chicago. May is cold in Chicago. June is when it finally starts to light up. And like it's America's summer city. June, July, August in Chicago, you can't beat it with a stick.
Beautiful,
but it just takes forever there. Like I'm turning the Cubs on at 1:20 on a Friday, and everybody's in just bundled up with blankets on May 3rd.
You got shorts on. You got shorts on with some crawfish.
Flip flops. Yeah. I'm getting some crawfish tomorrow. I hadn't gotten any yet. You got any crawfish this year?
I've had some a couple of days ago, but again, it's just this weather's throwing me off. I can't do it's nice and warm, got my shorts out, some crawfish. Next thing you know, I'm driving in and I'm hearing ding, ding, ding.
I almost got gumbo at lunch today.
Really?
Because I'm like a big, it's got to be cold to eat gumbo. And I think it was cool. It was cold enough, but I got a salad.
If you would have went there, you might have got the ticket.
I paid for the parking. I should have got the ticket anyway. I already opined on this. Here's another thing, and I talked about it in the rant that I went on. If you're going to put a parking notice on my car,
you're
going to need to put some legible numbers on there so that I can appeal it properly. These numbers, the 6 is preposterous. It looks like
It's like a doctor.
It looks like an F.
He did an F. The 6 is like an F.
It looks like an F or a backwards 3. A 6. I couldn't figure out what it was doing.
It's a little pig-like.
That's ridiculous. All right, that's it for Take It or Leave It, and that's it for us here on this Monday. I gave 30 minutes at the top of the show on LSU's baseball weekend in Nashville. I kind of led with what I thought was the most important thing and hit kind of all the high points there and the low points over the weekend for LSU baseball. If you want to catch that, you can at the top of the show. Talked a little Saints with Kellen Moore. You can find that at Hunt on Saints. Talked a little World Baseball Classic. Talked a little Savannah Bananas. Talked some SEC basketball and a little bit of LSU basketball, as well as there's not been any movement over there on campus. So we'll see what happens over the next few days. If you missed any of the show today, catch it on demand wherever you find your sound. Matt's going to drive you home next on After Further Review. We'll see you tomorrow for a Tuesday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Before we leave, let's get you caught up on our friends over there at Marucci. You need to catch up with the folks over at Marucci. It is the official bat of Major League Baseball. Such a cool story here in Baton Rouge for a couple of former big leaguers and their trainer to go in the backyard in the shed and start making bats. And then all of a sudden, you fast forward 22 years and you're talking about the official bat of Major League Baseball. They make 1,200 of them a day. Go take a tour at Marucci. The cool thing about the tour is they'll show you where and how they make 1,200 of the best bats in the world every day. They'll also give you the story behind Marucci, which is so cool and unique to our city. So if you've got a youth baseball team, take them over to Marucci. If you got a youth softball team, take them over to Marucci. Take a tour and see how they became the #1 bat in Major League Baseball. Go to MarucciSports.com/campus-tour and get those tickets. Every ticket to the Marucci Campus Tour gets a 20% discount in the Campus Tour store and in the Hitter's House. MarucciSports.com.